Before we get started, I feel I should put out a warning. This is going to get heavy. In fact, some of what I'm going to tell you is going to sound batshit crazy. You've probably been pootling along, happy with your perception of the world, and I'm afraid I'm going to shatter that illusion. I'm so very sorry. Right, are you still here? Okay, let's begin. Humans are rubbish at perceiving anything other than linear growth. We're so bad at it that we default to this understanding for pretty much everything. If you look back at history, all the things that matter to you, all the technology, the everyday stuff, is less than 100 years old. Your grandparents are baffled by iPhones and the cloud. Even my mum shies away from all that newfangled nonsense. But somehow, we've convinced ourselves that our lives are going to be like our parents. That we'll get some new gadgets, maybe a hoverboard if we're really lucky. But basically, when we die, not much will have changed, and our kids will continue the cycle. Go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, retire, etc. It's easy to see how we've comforted ourselves to believe this, but if you stick your head up and read about some of the crazy things that are going on, you'll soon realise that everything is going to change. Pretty much every single sci-fi film or TV show has grossly underestimated the blistering pace of technological process. Star Trek, way off. Terminator, not even close. You see, technology is progressing at an exponential rate, not a linear one. We've already achieved more in the 21st century than in the entirety of the previous one, and it's getting faster. Exponential growth is terrifying, and so we rationalise it and play it down. 1 year into the Human Genome Project, they said it would take over 100 years to complete. It was done in less than 10, and now you can map your own genome for just a few £100. Moore's Law is an incredibly reliable measure of how computer speeds will increase, and has been since the 60s. It was once said that a computer could never beat a human at chess. In 2016, a computer destroyed a human in the game of Go, a much more complicated game, and a feat that could not be achieved simply with raw computing power. The next few decades could mark major milestones in so many different fields. We could be living in the most exciting time in human history. By the year 2050, and this is where I start to talk weird, there will most likely be humans living on Mars. We could have created artificial intelligence, and we might even have cured death. Yeah, I know. I just said that. Yeah, I think we should move on. Advances in technology will mean all sorts of new things are available to us, and, with everything new, the price will be steep. The class divide will probably widen, and some of these things might never be available to the underprivileged. I started my journey to wealth because I wanted to be financially free, but since finding out about the things on this list, I've made it my mission to ensure my family and my children are not deprived in the future. You can call me crazy if you want, and go back to pretending everything will be okay, but this stuff is happening, whether you like it or not. So bearing that in mind, here are my 8 reasons why you're going to need to be rich in the future. Automation. Okay, we'll start off with an easy one that you've probably already started to become aware of. Machines are getting better at doing human tasks all the time. Machines are faster, more reliable, safer, work longer, cost less, and produce better and more accurate results. There's simply no way we win on this one. The first jobs to go will be the obvious ones. Machines have long been replacing humans in factories and in manufacturing. Next will come transportation. There are several companies out there working on self-driving vehicles, and we'll see them on the road sooner than you think. It won't take long for people to realise they are much safer than letting humans drive, and the transformation could be swift. Millions of people are employed in driving jobs, and these will quickly disappear. It won't stop there. Machines can be programmed to do virtually anything, and even if you think your job could never be done by a machine, it could be rendered obsolete as a consequence. For more detail on this, I recommend you check out the excellent video by CGP Grey. I'll link it in the description. Mass unemployment will become commonplace, so having a passive income will prove invaluable. This brings us nicely on to basic income. A basic or universal income has been proposed as a solution to the increase in automation. The argument goes that the economy will be more productive because of the machines, and so we'll be able to afford to pay everyone a basic income without working. This sounds wonderful, and would offer an arguably fairer and more transparent form of welfare than available in most countries. However, it is highly likely that this basic income would be set at a level comparable to the minimum wage, or minimum acceptable standard of living. It would be an extremely expensive initiative, and will have to be fairly restricted. If you're happy to exist on minimum wage, then you might not have to wait too many more years for these sort of benefits to kick in. One of the potential side effects of a basic income could be restricted social mobility. People may come to depend completely on this income and be unwilling or unable to access any other forms of income. This would severely limit someone's ability to grow rich and could hasten the widening class divide. Advanced medicine. Medical science has dramatically improved the health and lifespan of humans over the past 100 years. Life expectancy at birth was just 26 in the Bronze Age and Iron Age. Even by the year 1900, this had barely improved to 31, but by 2010, the world average was 67, and even higher in more developed countries. Today we can cure diseases we didn't even know existed 100 years ago. Many people believe we are on the cusp of a wave of breakthroughs that will lead to humans living even longer. One example of this is CRISPR. This new technology allows scientists to reprogram DNA to fight or gain immunity to specific diseases. Although in the early stages, the potential is huge, and it could become routine to just program your body to eliminate natural threats that today seem insurmountable. As humans live longer, we will need more money to afford to live in these extra years. Pensions simply won't be able to cope when half the population are retired, and people are living to 150. Human enhancement. In the same vein as medicine, human enhancement is an emerging technology. Imagine being able to replace your organs and other body parts with freshly grown or 3D printed ones that improve your health and eliminate any weaknesses. Or maybe you decide to go with mechanical parts with inherent advantages over biological counterparts. Many believe that it won't be long before you'll be able to enhance your brain with computer parts or interface to a cloud brain to dramatically improve your intelligence and power. This sounds like science fiction, but so did smartphones 20 years ago. We may be able to manipulate our DNA to offer genetic enhancements, and maybe even slow down or stop aging. Death is one of the few certainties, but it might not be that way for much longer. When technology comes along to extend human lifespan and remove the limitations of these frail meat bags, you can bet it will be in high demand, and it won't be cheap. Vitrification. How gutted would you be if they found a cure for a disease just after you died from it? I mean, you'd obviously be dead, but you get the idea. Thankfully, there's a solution for this. You can have your whole body, or just your brain, frozen and put into a bath of liquid nitrogen in a process called vitrification. This is fascinating and preserves you for a point in the future when whatever killed you, or is killing you, can be cured, and you can be thawed out and carry on with your life. Over 300 people already have their bodies vitrified, and even though this opens up some mind-boggling possibilities, it's only going to get more popular as people seek a way to cheat the Reaper. Overcrowding. All the things we mentioned in this list, all the wonderful technology and the march of progress, there is one downside to all of this: overcrowding. The world population was about 1.5 billion in 1900, and yet it has grown to over 7 billion today. Scientists estimate that it will be 9.5 billion by 2050. This is likely to result in ever-increasing competition for space and our finite resources. I believe we will develop ingenious solutions to some of these problems, such as 3D printing food and vertical farming, but it still remains that things will likely get more expensive, especially luxury and rare items. Imagine a world where you have to be rich to buy a banana. The other unknown element here is global warming. It seems fairly obvious that even if we stop emitting CO2 into the atmosphere now, we've done long-term damage to our atmosphere. What effect this will have remains to be seen, but rising sea levels is often touted as an inevitable consequence. This could have dramatic repercussions, as 40% of the world's population live within 37 miles of the coast. It's safe to say that having money will be an advantage here. Mars colony. It's no secret that there are plans to send people to Mars in the next 15 years, but there are several organisations out there who are determined humans should establish a colony there. One of the overriding arguments is that if something were to happen to Earth, we need a backup of our species. As rocket technology improves and becomes cheaper, it will eventually be relatively affordable to take a trip to the red planet, or even escape there permanently. One thing is certain: there will be no free tickets. Singularity. Forget Terminator and 2001. Artificial intelligence is coming, and fast. Computer scientists predict computers will have the same processing power as the human brain within the next 10 years, and lots of different groups are working on deep learning algorithms to create AI that can solve problems, communicate intelligently, and mine vast amounts of data. Ray Kurzweil, one of the foremost experts in the subject, estimates we will reach the so-called singularity around 2040. Once we reach this point, we will have created an AI that is at human-level intelligence or greater, and likely with the ability to improve itself. When we get here, there's no way to know what will happen next. Scientists are divided as to whether this will usher in a golden age where anything becomes possible, or the AI will destroy us all. And not through malevolence, but because we've carelessly programmed it. Maybe our new robot overlords will do away with money, but it seems more likely to me that having it will be better than not. So this list may seem like science fiction, but it's closer than you think. Are you going to do something about your personal situation, or are you going to be one of the millions of people who sit and wait for the government to sort it out for you? Because they'll probably be clueless and too slow to respond. What do you think about this list? Do you disagree? Did we miss something? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe.